So this is Subspace D&D Dungeons and Dragons Reddit stories, and we can start off with Annika. What do you got?
Hello. All right. So mine's kind of short and to the point, but I feel like it'll give us a lot with a little. So
All right.
are we ready? Am I the asshole for making my character get her period in a realistic D&D campaign? It's in quotations. I, female 20, am the only female player in my D&D group. My character has been sexually harassed and approached by orcs wanting to have sex because I'm playing a female elf. Whenever I say something about it, the DM says he's just trying to play a realistic campaign. It doesn't happen often enough to make me want to leave, though. We were about to fight a vampire when he said he smelt blood. I joked that it was me that he was smelling, and the DM asked why he would smell me over all of the others. I looked him straight in the face and said, because she's on her period, and so she's bleeding. All the other players acted like this was the grossest thing I have ever said, even though they've heard me describe disembowelments before. My DM looked at me and said that elves don't get their periods. I said that they were playing humanoids with an ovulation cycle, and I was just trying to be realistic. After the session, the DM asked me to leave the game. So am I the asshole for giving my character her period?
No.
No.
What?
What?
I dead ass was about to take a drink out of my Red Bull, and I got like this far up, and then I was like, "Wait a minute," and I had to bring it back
He
down.
kicked her out. Like I thought she was gonna be like, I made like this big scene about it. Like I made
That's
it this
what got
super big
me.
deal. Like that's kind of what I thought was gonna happen. But she was just like, oh no, like she's just thought like she mentioned it in passing as her character, which totally makes sense. And
Also,
and he kicked her out for that.
And
Also- why would an elf not have her period?
Yeah,
oh, wait,
why not?
there's one edit that says Ed Greenwood, the creator of the Forgotten Realms, says elves do menstruate. So it's canon that they do.
It's
He's just a-
canon.
It's canon. Elves have periods. So
And if he wants to have her get sexually harassed by random NPCs,
She can
he's
have a fucking
douchebag?
period since we're gonna be realistic here.
Yeah.
Also, why the sexual harassment like trope
In the first
at
place.
all?
Why is that
in a
happening?
fantasy campaign? Like,
Yeah.
I don't get that.
It's
Women can't
Fantasyland.
escape
Why
that?
does it have to be like that there too?
Like, that's pretty bad. Am I the
Did you-
asshole?
Can't
It's
believe he
obviously
kicked her
not.
out over that.
Dude, the last line fucking scalped me. I was like, are you
Just don't come
serious?
back. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That's a group of
Mhm.
people not worth playing with.
That's horrible. I just
And got kicked out. And you got kicked out.
That's why I was like, this one's short, but you'll see the vibe quickly.
It was a 0 to 100, just so fucking fast. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't even a moment.
Fast.
Didn't even
That
get
was
a
like a
moment.
TLDR.
I really like that she was just like to the point about it. She was like, "This is what happened."
Yeah, everybody else is like describing their life story, but this girl's
my
like,
God.
"Here you go, here you go."
Like the one I'm about to read, they like explain like the entirety of how D&D works, like the dice rolling and all of it.
Is it from like a D&D Reddit page, or is it like a TTRPG, like, the community?
I actually never bothered to check. That might be why. In that
Yeah, it
case.
depends
Yeah,
on where it's at.
'Cause it's like a
That would
D&D
make a lot
Reddit
more
page,
sense.
and they're explaining D&D, and it's like, what?
No, yeah,
redundant?
they posted it in the Am I the Asshole? So
Okay,
yeah,
so
that makes
okay,
sense. That
An-
makes sense.
A D&D
now a lot
story
more.
in Am I the Asshole might be a good one.
An official.
The official
the
Am I the
Asshole?
Asshole page.
This thing is so long, and there's 2 edits on it.
You had your
Hit it.
reading voice on.
Yeah. Let me pull this closer.
It's all the way.
All right. Yeah, fucking
Hello?
real. I talk so quiet. That's
Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for kicking a player out of our D&D group because they can't do math?
Sorry.
Spit on my
I
phone.
saw the headline for that
I
one
would
a
be
while back.
gone. I wouldn't be in this group anymore.
I'd be like, Preston, what's 7 plus 2? Like, that's whatever damage you got. That's literally what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
All right.
makes me
The funny part about this is it starts with, I'll try and keep this short.
Uh-oh.
You failed.
Judging by the title, I'm gonna say not an asshole. Just from the beginning, am I an asshole? You're not an asshole if you can't do math. But
Here's
I'll
the-
No,
hear it.
is he an asshole for kicking a player out? because
Yeah,
you can't do
Yeah, okay,
am I the
oh.
asshole for kicking a player out of our D&D group because they can't do math?
Then
That's
yes,
harsh.
just by that, I'm gonna say yes. But go ahead.
I'll
defend
try
yourself.
and keep this short. quick context. I play D&D with a group of 6 guys. We meet each week and the group is about 2 years old at this point. One of the players, Adam, invited a coworker, Sarah, to join us for a few games. So in D&D, there's a lot of math. Not difficult math, but a lot of it. Basically, in combat, you roll dice, add or subtract based on your character's stats, and use the final result to determine if you hit an enemy, how much damage you do, or if you escape a spell or trap. It really is mostly single-digit addition with some double-digit thrown in. Nothing too tricky, at least not for most people.
Hey.
Sarah-
All right. I don't like the.
I like where
like
this is going.
No, the 6 men, 1 woman in the group.
I feel attacked.
Sarah
It's like
has
you're a
been play-
complete dumbass if you can't do math at D&D, and you should just leave. Anyway,
That's
here's the rest of my
actually
story.
not hard. Sarah has been playing with us for a few months now, and on average, it takes her about 10 times as long to take a turn as it does anyone else at the table. I don't mind someone being a bit slower in the mental math aspects of the game, but this woman actually has turns that go over 7 to 8 minutes because it takes her a full minute to add 3 single-digit numbers together.
That's pretty
At
rough.
Oh my god.
At first, we thought it was
That's bad.
because she was learning the rules and might have been nervous playing for the first time.
Right.
But she has all the formulas written down. It just takes her that long to do the calculations. According to Adam, she is known for being slow at work as well. Well, at this point, she is taking so long that we are losing a lot of our limited game time and just sitting around waiting for her to finish her turn. A rotation at the table is basically all of us taking 1 to 2 minute turns and the DM taking 3 to 4 minutes since he's controlling all the baddies, so it takes a while. And then Sarah taking almost as long as all of us combined. It sucks. It isn't fun only getting maybe 90 minutes of a game done in a 3 to 4 hour session. That's us on
Damn.
God. Like,
Yeah. All right, what is
You
7
hate
plus
this
1?
campaign.
8 minutes later.
we group text after the game and talk about maybe removing Sarah from the group. Everyone seems on board with the idea except for Adam, who doesn't want things to be awkward at work should she be kicked from the group.
Weird
He
spot.
also
Been there.
argues that she is having a lot of fun, which is true. Even though she is struggling to do her turns, she does seem to genuinely be having fun. So we agreed to give her another chance if Adam can take some time at work and see if he can get her to speed up on her turns a bit. Adam agrees and all seems well. Turns out we're all idiots, and Adam is spending some time during lunch over the course of a week cannot magically make Sarah better at mental math. She's just as slow as before, but now she looks frustrated when she's counting. Adam has mentioned that we needed the game to go faster, and so now the pressure was on her, and it definitely showed. Now Sarah was more annoyed and short with us during the session and was clearly not having fun anymore. By the end of the session, Sarah ends up snapping at me and another player and started to cry. We decided to cut the session off there after she stormed outside and Adam ended up comforting her and taking her home. It was last week and this was last week and the other than a text saying Sarah won't be doing D&D anymore, he has been pretty quiet for all of us. So am I the asshole here? We basically introduced someone to a game they really enjoyed, but because she couldn't do mental math fast enough, we ended up making her break down in tears and leave angry at us instead of having fun. I was the primary driving force initially to remove her from the game, and I was definitely the most frustrated by her. Now that this has happened, I feel really guilty.
Hold on a
And then
second.
there's 2 edits on it, and I can
So-
tell you what D&D decided or what Reddit decided.
Maybe I missed this part, but like, so she got upset, cried, the session ended, and she left. Did she get kicked out after that? Like, when did she get kicked out?
So she
think-
never got kicked out. So that session happened, and then the whole group received a text from Adam that just said Sarah will not be doing D&D.
So she left herself.
So she left of her own
on her
accord.
own.
Because it is fair.
And now the guy feels like a dick about it. Like now he's like, I feel like I pushed her out, and so he's trying to figure out if he's the asshole or not. Even though they never kicked her out, but they obviously pushed her to that point.
It is fair to like 8 minutes is a long time because he said
That's
it
a
was
long
7
time.
to 8 minutes just doing the math. If that is
But can-
true, that is a long time.
If all of that is true, I can see where he was frustrated.
Yeah.
Can no one
I
get
mean-
Sarah a calculator?
That's
or
what-
like,
what- use your
part of the
phone.
part- like,
or
it's
like, can someone
why
just
didn't-
maybe do the math
maybe
for
just do
her?
it
Yes,
for her?
yeah.
My,
Like,
her
my
what the
guess
rules
is
were.
that
It sounds like Sarah needs more tools.
it
it
also
sounds like Sarah needs some goddamn help. Help her.
well, the first thought would be to use your calculator. So my assumption
Right,
would be that
right.
she doesn't know what her modifiers are. So she has to
Like, there's-
continue going back to check because she doesn't know what they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you have like it's just like a
Right.
+3 or +2 or for so and so reason, maybe she doesn't know. So then she has to go back, figure out what the modifier is, because maybe they're not
Or maybe
using like
she
a
like
paper or
thinks
something.
it's one thing and then she realizes she like forgot this thing and then now she's like, oh, I got to redo it all.
'Cause, I mean,
that
anybody would
kind of
just
thing is
bust out a
happening.
calculator in this situation. Anyone would just be like, hold
Mhm.
on, because they don't
Right,
want to be embarrassed.
right.
They don't want to sit there and go, like,
yeah,
go
you would
bust out a
just do the
calculator.
math.
And this was made 4 years ago, so calculators were definitely around.
Yeah.
Well, they even said she had the formulas written down. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
she knew-
right.
First off, why write down the it's not like complex calculus that you're doing, so I don't know what formulas are needed.
I
for
mean,
this.
he makes a
Right.
good point in saying that it is pretty like simple addition. You just have to know what you're adding together.
Right.
And that's the hard part is knowing what numbers to use
Mhm.
because it's
And if-
all dependent on all these different things.
Especially, and depending on what level they started out at, if they
Right.
took someone who never played D&D and they put them like at level 10, that's not fair to that player.
No.
Because that is a lot of dice that you are putting out,
And
especially if you're playing
especially if they
a
don't
fighter.
know D&D.
Yeah, 'cause if
Right,
you're
it
playing a
sounds like
fighter,
she did.
and you'd have your attack. Then if you have a weapon that does an additional damage, then you have your
Right.
modifier, and then you have everything else going on along. That's not fair to them. But the DM could have stepped in and be like, "All right, what did you roll? I can do it for you. Just tell me the numbers, and then I'll
Yeah.
let you know what happened."
Right.
Right.
I mean, I feel like somebody there
and
maybe
I feel like
could've-
her turns wouldn't have taken 8 to 9 minutes if somebody just fucking helped her.
Yeah, like her friend that apparently was right
Yeah,
there.
Adam,
Like,
Right.
or
Why
whatever.
wasn't he? Because I mean, I guess it's not on the responsibility of the players who didn't invite her to like help her through every turn. But if you invited her to it and you see that it's pissing off your friends and she's struggling, then just why aren't you helping her? I feel like it's that guy's fault.
Like he should have been more helpful to his friend.
Yeah. That's just I feel bad for Sarah. I don't know. Like, is
Me
there
too.
something up with her that she just?
But I
didn't wanna-
don't. I mean, I kind of don't necessarily think they're like that guy's an asshole.
I don't really
Like
think
he
anyone's
voiced
the
his
asshole.
concerns, but I guess then again though we don't know what happened during that session. Like we don't know what literally got her to the point of crying. Like maybe they were being dicks. Maybe they were rolling their eyes at her and huffing and puffing and
Right.
they
I
can
think
say
something
they
got
didn't.
left
Oh, I
out.
didn't say anything. Right? Like I feel like stuff was left out.
For
Because
it being
Two
so
edits on
long.
it though. Do you want me to read the edits?
just a
Yes.
second, to say something real fast. Because I don't get,
Oh.
for one, exactly like you put it. Why would she cry? Maybe
Right.
she's like
Like
a little
what brought her to
unstable,
that
but
point?
like, what would bring you to the point of crying unless you're being coaxed into crying? And then, why I can't get past why she wouldn't just bust out a calculator.
See, that's what
really
I kept
can't get
thinking the
past
whole
that.
story. Or I'm like, why isn't somebody just if it's so simple, why is somebody not just
And then he
Helping her
says he
out.
said formulas, which entices me to think that she probably didn't have the right like formulas or the right numbers presented to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or maybe she just didn't have a complete understanding when someone was explaining it to her. Like she took it a different way and just had this other idea in her head.
And
she
a lot of
didn't
the
understand
time
how to play the game?
in workplace D&D sessions, a lot of the time the entire table is just playing the entire campaign wrong and nobody knows exactly what they're doing at all. And they just kind of wing it to figure out how to play, and then they use the wrong math the entire time. So that could
The
be
smirk on your face says that feels personal.
that could
That
be
is,
something.
It's true.
I think that's something a lot of us have experienced.
It was just
Anyway, what were the edits?
All right, so edit. We did mention early on that she could use a calculator, but she declined, saying that she could do it herself. No idea
Oh.
why she declined that option, to be honest.
oh, that's so weird.
Second edit. You know what's funny? I never read the edits on this thing, so I'm actually hearing this for the first time with you guys.
That changes the whole game. Like,
It does.
Flips my table.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm done.
Edit 2. Adam spoke with Sarah at work today and she apologized for the outburst and wanted to come back and play with us. We added her to a group chat and apologized for not communicating better with the issues we were having with her. She agrees she was stubborn and will just use a calculator going forward. We
Thank
agree we
God.
could have been clearer on the impact the slowness was having on our enjoyment of the game. We also made it clear we don't judge her for being bad at math. We just want her to use the tools she needs to help her keep up the pace we need it to enjoy the game. I can accept that I was a bit of an asshole in this exchange. I don't think I was wrong to want her gone if things wouldn't improve, but I was wrong in the way I handled the events leading up to the outburst.
I think he should have been more
And
helpful.
Reddit decided
Yeah.
that this guy was the asshole.
Is the asshole.
Really?
Yeah.
After the edits, I wouldn't. Why
I
wouldn't you
think
just
with
use
I think with
calculator,
Reddit,
Sarah?
you can't really be like, I choose in between. I think he's like in between.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
would
mean?
say
Between
he
and in
is.
this case, and honestly, most of the top like comments say you're the asshole, but they all say like a little bit or like kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had
Handled
to choose
differently.
an asshole in this situation, it's you, but like, not really.
It's also like
So.
hindsight's 2020. Like we're hearing the
Right.
results, so we're like, well, you should have just done that. You know, but like when you're in the moment, you're part of it, it's happening for the first time. You think you're doing it the right way, how it should be done. You know, him
Right.
talking to Adam to talk to her in private when they're at work about, you know, a better
Right.
result. I would have thought that would be a good move instead of just
I-
addressing
Right.
it to her like
I-
at the table or
The
something.
way he sounds so apologetic, though, makes me think that they had to have brought her to that point of the outburst. Like they brought,
Right.
like
Why
they
did
had,
she just
they
start?
pulled that out of her, you know?
Yeah. They
Like,
must
she
have been
could
like
have been-
super pushy or something.
The way he's as apologetic about it as he is, like in those edits and stuff, and like the way he even said, like, I feel guilty now that this has happened. Like, I think he kind of antagonized that to happen,
Yeah.
and now he like kind of feels bad about it.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure she was embarrassed, so that probably added to her having like a
The
moment like
first
that.
edit
But
made me laugh so hard.
I had no idea why she wouldn't
Without
do that.
calculator. I don't know why she declined that option.
That threw me for a spin. I was like, okay.
And I love that, like, your whole thing too was like, I just don't get why she didn't use a calculator.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that was
Pride.
that
She's like,
was-
I can do it myself. My brain's got it. No,
She's
it
Oh
actually
my
like,
God.
"Babe,
It's not.
do it." And it's like, girlfriend, I don't think you can. You really need to use a calculator.
Because I might have done the same thing the first couple of times, like, no, I got it, and then I'm like, it's
Like,
this
no,
number.
I can do this.
But
Like,
then
you
after,
won't
like-
let your ego go that far.
Yeah, after like 3 or 4 attempts, I'd be like, all right, fine.
I'd be like,
Get my
okay,
phone
fine.
out and
Someone give me
start-
their fucking phone.
Like,
Like,
okay,
See,
obviously.
math is hard.
On the
so I
third
just won't.
8-minute turn, I'd be like, fuck it. Here's my T81 calculator.
on the third 8-minute turn.
I'm done holding everybody up. There's no way she didn't realize how long that was. Like,
Yeah. To her, it must have felt 3 times
I'm
as
sure
long.
though, like I'm sure though.
Oh,
to
I'm
her,
sure.
Like at first, she probably just figured it was because, like, obviously she didn't have any experience with the game, and they did. So of course they're going to be faster than her. I just
mhm.
don't think she realized like just how long, like how much longer she was taking than she should have been.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And that's just because she'd never experienced D&D before this, you know.
Give us a comment.
Like even I don't feel like I have a comment.
Yeah. What do they say?
Something. Let me find. Oh wow! I'll just read like the top 2 comments. So the
Cool.
first one said, "You're the asshole a little bit. I feel
Yeah.
like there are other solutions, like having a calculator on hand or having somebody help over her shoulder kind of deal. You put unnecessary pressure on her to improve her mental math in a week, a skill
Yes.
that takes months/years of practice to noticeably improve, which was
True.
the worst way of going about it. I get you want to speed up the game, and I doubt anyone faults you for that. But you guys could have accommodated better."
Yeah.
I
And then
agree.
another
Agreed.
comment says, not the asshole. It's sad. She had fun. You guys wanted the game to go faster. I can relate to you and to her also being sad after the whole story, but it's not your fault. Maybe you could have all figured out how to fasten this. There's always a way to approach things nicely and finding a way that so everyone has fun. I'd suggest you all apologize to her because after all, she did have fun with you guys and now she thinks bad of herself. But as I said, no one is the asshole.
I think that's reasonable.
And I
I
feel
think
like,
that's
yeah, this was
accurate.
definitely like I feel like when you have to choose who's the asshole in this, like, yeah, it's him because that girl is like totally innocent in this.
Right.
But even then, like, he's not like like saying that he's an asshole about it is like too far. Like, he's really not. It's understandable why he was frustrated.
Well, you also have to consider too, like it's not just his and hers time. Like everybody at that
Yeah.
table is putting time aside to play this game, and they want to
Right.
make the most
And
use out of that
like he
time.
said, they're obviously used to having like 3-4 hour sessions with a ton of stuff packed into it, and they're packing about 90 minutes worth of stuff
Yeah.
into that 3 to 4 hours just because of one person. Like,
And that
I'd
would
be
suck.
pretty fucking frustrated about
Yeah,
that, to
it's
be
not as
honest.
black and white as are they or they are.
Right.
I don't really think anyone's the asshole. It was just handled badly.
No. Yeah, it was just handled poorly, but it seems like it resolved pretty well. She understood she needed a calculator, and they were willing to apologize. So.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Alright.
understand how it takes someone 7 minutes, though. I'm trying to figure out
I
how you
there
take
had to be
7
some
minutes.
sort of like miscommunication on what she knows about the game. Like,
It
that
had
has
to
to
be.
be it.
Well, like,
That
I've
has
seen,
to
like,
be it.
3-minute
Like,
ones, but that's
I
people
couldn't
picnic shit.
imagine watching my friend struggle for like, or not even a friend, somebody I was just in the same room
Yeah.
with struggle for that long.
Everyone's
just,
on
like,
fucking
sit there and
TikTok
just-
scrolling while she's trying to figure like a 1,
Right.
2,
Like,
3.
Like I would have to step in and be like, what can
Yeah.
I
I'd be like,
do?
what is the
Let me help
problem?
you.
What are
Like,
you
Yeah.
struggling with?
I would assume
Like,
if she
I
didn't want to
figured
use
out.
a calculator, she probably denied all help. If she refused to use
Probably.
a calculator as
Right?
well, because it's a pride thing. So if she,
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm fine.
she's like, no, I got it, leave me alone, leave me alone. Like I'd imagine that's how it went down. So
Yeah.
6 people at that table, at least one person had to be like, I'm gonna be the guy who helps her get through this, so we can continue playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Like,
it
at
should have
least
been Adam.
one.
It should have been the guy that invited her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should've.
that or the
should've been Adam.
DM. Those
Yeah,
two
that
people.
or the DM. Like, those two people have a responsibility
Mhm.
in this.
Agreed.
And it from what it sounds like, this guy that made the Reddit post was neither of those people. He's not the DM.
Yeah.
He's not the Adam, you know, he's just one of the 5 players.
Huh.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just like a part of it. And I guess he did like own up to it and say like, I was definitely the one that was like obviously the most irritated about this.
He's probably the one
Yeah.
that's most pushy to her too.
I'm sure he was
Mhm.
being a
And he
dick and
said
it made her
He
cry.
said that too. He was like, I
He's
was
probably like,
definitely
"It's
the one that
basic
was
fucking
putting the
math."
most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulled together. But everybody is at different
Yeah.
spots in their life.
And
you don't
D&D
know.
is supposed to be fun. Like, the math
Right.
part really isn't that big of a deal. Like, just
That
help your
shouldn't hold
fucking
you
friend
back.
out.
Just use D&D Beyond. There's tools.
Yeah, right?
There's tools.
Sponsor
Gosh,
us.
like, we don't even I was reading that and I was like, man, I haven't had to do math in D&D in so long.
I just click a button.
Right.
It's so nice as a
I
DM.
just
I'm like,
click a button.
yay! It's clicking.
I feel like
I'm
I've
like,
softened.
whoa.
Just tell me
Yeah.
how many dice to roll and give me the number 66.
Yay!
Like I could see the math being tough for her if their system's more eccentric, like campaigns I have played, where they'd be rolling a sword slash for like 66 damage, and then you're trying to add up all those dice together. Then yeah, I could see that being like really hard and like trying to add all that and taking time. Sure,
Right.
but just D&D Beyond, click a button,
Click a
boom.
fucking button.
You
Get
could
that
just
girl
do
a
D&D
laptop.
Beyond on her iPad if she had one, and
Yeah.
everybody else could write it
Or
down.
on her phone. She can do it on her phone.
But she didn't want to use her phone.
That's true.
It's true. There's
She
also
wanted to
probably a
do it with
situation
herself.
too where like nobody had D&D Beyond, so she didn't want to be the odd duckling in the
Well,
group.
like I
and-
said, this was made 4 years ago. I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
don't know
Good
how
point.
poppin' D&D Beyond was at
It was
that
around.
time.
It
I
was
mean, I'm
around.
sure it was around, but I don't know if,
I don't
Like
think
how
it was as
commonly used-
established.
yeah, like if it was
A
such
lot-
common knowledge.
I feel like a lot of people too had an issue with like traditional paper and pen D&D versus something more like online and automated. You know,
Yeah.
It's a hard transition, I will say.
It is tough, but it's ideal.
It's the
so
best we
easy.
got.
Even at even if I was at another table again, I would still
I'd
have like an
like-
iPad with D&D Beyond and be like,
I think I would still have D&D Beyond, but damn, do I miss rolling dice.
no, yeah,
Oh my
keep,
God,
like,
me
really
too.
do.
something
I
other
really
shows
do.
do is they use D&D Beyond, but they still roll the dice instead of pressing the
Yeah.
button.
Yeah,
that's
like
what
I
I
would
would do.
have D&D Beyond to keep track of my character because that's
And-
fucking useful.
Well, like in all of their abilities and spells and
Yeah.
features
Oh,
and all
yeah.
that stuff, like that.
and
Like,
it keeps track of like your spell slots for you.
Yeah.
Which that was like the number one reason why I would never play a spellcaster, was because I was like, I can't
Well,
keep up with the
You're
fucking spell slots.
constantly erasing and marking, and eventually that paper wears out.
Oh
because
yeah, you're gonna rip a
constantly
hole in your
erasing.
fucking
Yeah,
character.
and then you got to
Yeah.
redo everything.
But with D&D
That was a lot of
Beyond,
shit
you
to write
don't
down.
have to struggle with
Well,
such
with
atrocities.
D&D Beyond.
Not
Everybody
sponsored.
smile. Not sponsored. But it could be.
All right, that has been D&D Reddit stories, and now we can jump into the session.